Okay, this video is about HSE jobs, or health, safety and environmental jobs that exist in the energy sector. On our first video about the BOSIET training course, we had a comment by someone with the YouTube name Octavia asking, please could you do a video on how to get a job as an HSE officer offshore? So we decided to go and ask some professionals that might have the answer for you.
So if you're looking to get into an offshore health and safety officer advisor role, I would say...
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. That was Ross McFarlane, an HSE manager for an offshore wind turbine installation service company called Aratellis. He gives us some insights on what it's like as an HSE professional and also how to get a job as one. Before we get to our chat with Ross, we speak to an offshore energy recruitment company called 3As or AAA to get information about what energy companies are asking for when hiring for their HSE jobs. Okay, here's what I learned from speaking with Mark at Aberdeen Appointment Agency, or the 3As. There are 4 different QHSE job position types. They can overlap a little, but generally they're in these 4 categories. So we have an administrator, a QHSE administrator, then there's also a QHSE advisor / coordinator, then there's a manager, and then there's a director. Now, whatever position you're in, you're going to be helping a company achieve certain internationally recognized standards. So for example, there's ISO 9001, which is an international quality standard. Then you have 14001, which is a environmental standard. Then you have 45001, which is a health and safety standard. For companies in the energy sector, having a QHSE department is almost standard. It's like having an accounts department or a procurement department. You have a QHSE department that handles the health, safety, environmental and quality aspects of the business. Now, as you can imagine, if every single company in this sector has a QHSE department, there's going to be a lot of HSE or QHSE professionals needed. And Mark backed this up. He said they are very much in demand. I got some insights on salary expectations for QHSE professionals. I thought that would be something that people would be interested in. So, just a disclaimer that this is for the UK energy sector QHSE jobs. It will differ from country to country depending on standard of living and taxes, etc. Also, depending on different sectors. So the hospitality industry is not paid as much for QHSE jobs as the energy sector, apparently. All right, for administrator positions, it's 20 to 30,000 pounds per year salary. And then for coordinators / advisor roles, it's 30 to 50,000 pounds per year. And for managers, it's 50 to 75,000 pounds per year. And then directors is more than that. Regarding qualifications, there are 2 main internationally recognized organizations that award qualifications for HSE, and they are NEBOSH and IOSH. Now, companies do ask for these. They come in certificates, diplomas, and you have auditor courses. There may be other ones as well, but that was the ones that was mentioned to me. Right, that's what I learned from speaking to an energy recruitment company. Now we're going to see our conversation with Ross McFarlane to get some insights on what a real QHSE manager has to say.
The main thing I would say is your NEBOSH General Certificate in Occupational Safety and Health. You can do that in various ways. It can be done as a MVQ, where you can do that kind of distance learning, or you can do it via a 2-week intensive course. I found it really good. You sit down, 1 week covers one half of a course that you'll end up doing a 2-hour exam on. The next week covers the other half. You'll do a 2-hour exam on that, all at the end of the 2 weeks. and then you sort of have a project you take away, like a worksite inspection that, you know, doesn't necessarily need to be done on a worksite in reality, but if you can, you know, I made mine up, for example, because I couldn't go to my offshore worksite and just do it, so I made it up, but made it up based on the knowledge of having been there and things I've seen and how I would fix them. And I found it to be a really good course, and it's sort of what I would consider like the entry level for, you know, getting your foot in the door and getting a grounding in health and safety legislation, as well as the practical elements of, you know, fire safety, QOSH, construction, lifting operations, you name it. So you would want to get something to do with auditing, because ultimately you're going to be involved in meeting standards, whether they're ISO standards or IMCA or whatever it may be. So you can get a 3-day or 2-day internal auditor course followed up by a lead auditor course. So your auditing courses, you know, those could be to 9001, which is a globally recognised quality standard, 14001, which is for environment, and 45, which is for health and safety. So safety professionals really are there to guide people and coach them and encourage them to work in a way in which is going to keep them safe and free from harm at work. And that's basically it. If you strip everything back, that's it in a nutshell. You're there to enable people and encourage them and do your job well so that nobody gets hurt. Having the courage to correct people where you see it's wrong, and if there's difficult conversations that need to be had, you know, that to me is that's what you get paid for. That's like part and parcel of the role. So you just need to be willing to sometimes be the brick wall that takes the abuse and can, you know, deal with the difficult conversations and attitudes and egos, because it's all like, it's ultimately for the greater good. Like people in the workplace, like we're all somebody's most valuable person, you know, whether it's your other half, mother, father, children. My first role, I started out as a QHSE assistant, swiftly moved into an advisor role. Worked at advisor role for around 4 or 5 years, and then this is like my first manager role. Like I say, if you have good intentions with what you're doing and you're not just there to shuffle paper, and you genuinely believe that you can have an impact in making the company a safer place and improving culture and behaviours, then, you know, you can't really go too far wrong. So for the person who asked the question, Octavia, this is for you. So if you're looking to get into an offshore health and safety officer advisor role, I would say that a NEBOSH general certificate is a must. If you can't, you know, fund that or get yourself through that, IOSH Managing Safely is also a good way to go. Slightly cheaper alternative, but still a globally recognised course. You would need your offshore survival tickets. And, you know, you've just got to put yourself out there. It's going to be difficult to get your foot in the door if it's your first role, but I would just keep applying for roles. Be ready to sell yourself when an interview comes up.
Okay, to summarize the last part of Ross's interview, he mentions the NEBOSH 2-week intensive course, the internal auditor's course, he mentions the lead auditor's course, and he mentions a slightly less expensive or more inexpensive IOSH Managing Safely course. He also talks about your offshore survival tickets. Now, this only applies if you're going to actually work offshore. For oil and gas industry, you need a BOSIET. There's a couple other things as well, but we have a video on that. You can watch it. It's called the BOSIET. And then for the offshore wind turbine industry, this is called the GWO BST. We are actually going to be doing that course because we want to go and film offshore wind turbines being constructed. So we will be doing that and filming it and making a video about it at the end of this month. I think that's about it. If you appreciate this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment on any suggestions or any particular job types that you'd like to see a video on. All right, thanks for watching.